Good morning. Here's what you missed in the last 25 hours. You had 32 videos worth catching up on, covering everything from AI breakthrough claims to Xbox's financial crisis, plus some fascinating deep dives into emerging tech trends and hardware innovations. Let's start with the big AI story that has Theo absolutely fired up. He's been burning through thousands of dollars of AI inference in just 10 days, taking advantage of what he calls the final opportunity to token max with Anthropic's Fable model on Claude Code. The model is only available on Pro and Max subscription plans until June 22nd, after which it gets removed for being too expensive. Theo's burned $4,358 on his laptop alone, plus another $1,112 on his Mac Mini, representing potentially $8,000 plus monthly inference value for just $200 in subscription costs. His strategy involves gaming the rate limit system by automating "Hi" messages every 5 hours to keep limits counting down, dual-wielding 2 Claude Code accounts, and running workflows that consume millions of tokens in minutes. He's built a complete remote setup using a Mac Mini to keep long-running jobs active while he sleeps, fundamentally shifting from short laptop-bound tasks to lengthy exploratory projects. Theo's philosophical conclusion really stood out. He argues developers can now do 100x more work than before, but the focus should be solving more problems, not just writing more code. His advice: approach AI with excitement rather than fear, because when he was skeptical, he got mediocre results, but when excited, he built his own cloud platform and custom control systems. Speaking of AI breakthroughs, the hosts at AI for Humans dove deep into Anthropic's Claude Fable 5, which they're calling industry-changing. This is technically part of the Mythos model family and represents their next-generation capability. What impressed them most was reaching what they call the magic level, the ability to throw complex requests at the model and receive working results without extensive iteration. One host created a complete game from a single paragraph prompt that worked autonomously for 4 hours and returned an immediately playable demo. However, there's significant controversy around Anthropic's guardrailing decisions. The model refuses certain requests related to bioweapons research and frontier AI development, and sometimes silently downgrades users to lesser models without notification. This serves dual purposes: preventing misuse and protecting Anthropic's competitive advantage by preventing other companies from distilling their model's knowledge. The competitive implications are serious. Anthropic's charts showing massive value improvements from Mythos have apparently prompted OpenAI to consider cutting API costs, according to the Wall Street Journal. But not everyone's buying into the AI hype. The Primogen was genuinely fired up, arguing that Anthropic and Claude Code creator Boris are lying when they claim coding is solved. His evidence? A year-plus terminal flickering bug in Claude Code itself. The bug was first reported in February 2025, and despite being a pure software problem with no hardware or infrastructure complications, Anthropic still can't fix it properly. Their December 2025 fix only reduced flickering by 85%. Prime was amazed by a bug fix that only works 85% of the time. When that failed, they had to create a no-flicker mode in April 2026, essentially a feature flag using alternate screen mode instead of direct printing. Meanwhile, Boris continues telling everyone that coding is the easy part, while their own product struggles with basic terminal rendering. Prime's point is simple: if coding is truly solved, why can't they fix a fundamental display bug in their own coding tool? On a different note, Nate from AI News and Strategy Daily shared his obsession with Codex, which he says is transforming computing from an app-based paradigm to an agent-based one. Only 1 in 1,600 people use Codex, according to him, but those who do report fundamental changes in how they work. Instead of manually switching between applications, users delegate entire workflows to AI agents that operate across files, browsers, and systems. Nate revealed that his local Codex log showed 510 million tokens in one day under just his Max account, not from more chatting, but from assigning bigger jobs. His computer sometimes runs at max memory, burning 100 million tokens per hour while doing 10 things simultaneously, allowing him to go take a walk, touch grass, and come back to find everything completed. The key insight is stopping treating every thread like random chat and instead creating chief of staff threads that stay pointed at work, knowing goals, folders, and standards. This eliminates re-explaining projects repeatedly. The AI Daily Brief highlighted a fascinating shift happening with OpenAI's new Sites feature for Codex, how knowledge workers should move from traditional documents to building websites. The presenter argued that traditional formats like PDFs, decks, and spreadsheets weren't chosen because they were optimal for carrying knowledge, but because creating interactive alternatives was too expensive. AI has changed that cost structure entirely. Websites solve fundamental problems with traditional documents. The update versioning nightmare of having 18 files named Plan Final v3, distribution friction where files require downloads and create digital clutter, navigation constraints where documents force linear structure on all readers, and context fragmentation where knowledge spans multiple document types. The presenter walked through 18 specific examples of knowledge work artifacts that should become websites, from narrative sites instead of slide decks to competitive intelligence hubs rather than one-time analyses. Matthew Berman showcased 4 genuinely useful open-source AI projects that deserve attention. Last 30 Days is a search engine that aggregates content from Reddit, Hacker News, GitHub, X, YouTube, and TikTok, ranking results by human engagement rather than serving ads. Open Notebook provides a local NotebookLM clone for uploading documents and generating podcasts completely locally. Agent Skills offers 7/ commands mapping to engineering stages like spec, plan, build, test, and review. But the most interesting project was Headroom, which compresses AI context before it reaches language models without degrading quality, potentially saving up to 92% on tokens. Matthew provided specific examples. Code search went from 17,765 to 1,408 tokens for 92% savings, and SRE incident debugging dropped from 65,694 to 5,118 tokens. Quality testing showed perfect scores across benchmarks, making this a genuinely useful cost-saving tool. Low Level delivered some sobering news about AI in cybersecurity. Researchers used AI to find 21 zero-day vulnerabilities in FFmpeg for just $1,000, demonstrating that effective vulnerability research doesn't require expensive tools like Mythos. FFmpeg powers much of the Internet's video infrastructure, and all 21 bugs involved overflows that had been sitting dormant since 2003, meaning it was latent for 23 years despite Google's Big Sleep and OSSFA's actively hunting bugs. The most interesting bug showed how attackers could achieve code execution through heap overflow in RTSP stream processing. The key point wasn't the specific vulnerabilities, but the methodology, proper scoping, and harness creation matter more than the AI model used. This contrasts sharply with Anthropic's Mythos, reportedly costing $20,000 to find a single DOS vulnerability in FreeBSD, while this researcher spent $1,000 to find 21 vulnerabilities using standard Claude models. Stefan Mischuk offered a different perspective on AI's impact, arguing that developers should embrace it as the next big opportunity rather than fearing it as a job killer. Drawing on his decades in the industry, he compared the current AI transition to when the web disrupted older technologies in the 1990s. When Stefan started coding, VB5 and VB6 were dominant, but when the web emerged, he abandoned old technologies to focus on web development. He painted a vivid picture of those early days when he had to explain to prospective clients, "What's a website?" and even used newspaper classified ads to find clients. His central argument is that AI is the great equalizer for small businesses. With proper AI knowledge, developers can achieve 10x to 20x productivity gains, meaning projects requiring teams of 10 people could now be completed by one person in 1 or 2 months. The key is understanding how AI models think and building proper scaffolding around them, treating the entire AI ecosystem as the new React, the new Angular. On a lighter note, Quinn from Snazzy Labs bought the Trump Mobile T1 smartphone to debunk what he assumed would be a scam, but discovered it's actually a competent mid-range phone. After a year of changing specs and disastrous customer service, including 18 hours to confirm order authenticity and requiring $52.37 for a monthly plan just to access the purchase dashboard. The phone finally arrived. The ordering process was amateur hour with hand-addressed envelopes, printer labels that looked like they were printed at UPS stores, and quick start guides clearly made on home printers. However, the phone itself had impressive specs: Snapdragon 7 Gen 3 processor, 12 GB RAM, 512 GB storage, and 5000 mAh battery. Tearing it down revealed it's essentially a rebranded HTC U24 Pro with a custom back cover and larger battery. While the fingerprint sensor was completely non-functional from factory and the build quality inconsistent, it's only $50 more than the HTC it's based on, though both are poor values compared to alternatives like the Samsung Galaxy S25 FE at the same price point. Max Tech claims Apple has essentially confirmed a foldable iPhone Ultra for September 2026 through iOS 27 code references and developer guidance changes. Their evidence includes Apple telling developers to move away from designing for specific devices and fixed orientations, targeting instead a dynamic range of sizes and aspect ratios. iOS 27 contains new fold state and angle degrees code references, plus an MG key for counting built-in displays, unprecedented since iPhones have always had single displays. Max demonstrated multitasking support for 2 different apps simultaneously and highlighted new landscape mode support for multiple native iPhone apps. However, some claims seemed speculative, like the brand new liquid metal hinge technology promising a perfect, flawless, creaseless, foldable display and the 5,800 mAh battery projection. While the software evidence is compelling, the hardware claims felt more like wishful thinking than confirmed features. Alex Ziskind tested AMD's new Gorgon Point chip in the Beelink SER10, showing significant improvements in JavaScript and TypeScript workloads that nearly match Apple's M4 Pro Mac Mini. The most impressive result was TypeScript compilation, where the SER9 scored 20, Mac Minis hit 35.99, and the new SER10 achieved 34.14, a 65% improvement that essentially closed the gap with Apple Silicon. However, results were mixed across different workloads. Python Mandelbrot testing showed essentially no improvement over the previous generation, while net compilation was similarly unchanged. The real innovation appeared in AI workloads, where proper configuration delivered significant performance gains. Using NIXL with Azure Blob Backend, a 100,000 token context went from 52 seconds for first token to just 8 seconds, about 6 times faster. For NPU utilization, hybrid mode delivered 631 tokens per second compared to 240 for iGPU alone. Alex's recommendation: buy the SER10 if you need NPU for AI work, but skip the upgrade if you already own SER9 and primarily use iGPU for inference. Tom from ICOR revealed a comprehensive local folder system with custom interface that he claims replaces note-taking apps, task planners, and health trackers, all running locally using Claude AI. This isn't just another tool, but something built from the ground up using over 40 trained Claude agents from his business. The system merges action with information into one tool by pulling calendar events and tasks from external sources while centralizing everything in one view. A major breakthrough is the knowledge graph that's more useful than Obsidian's version, according to Tom, plus custom whiteboards for visual thinking and a life coach feature with Stoic mentoring. The health tracking component impressed him most. He backfilled 15 years of health data, including weight, nutrition, and workouts, all stored locally with pattern recognition from journal entries. The system connects health data to his broader life framework, where key health elements link to goals and habits. Document management includes an external scanner feeding a team inbox, where Claude organizes documents into a searchable library with auto-generated context. Tom's convinced there's no going back once you experience this level of integration. The Lunjuk Journal reported that the GNOME Foundation is in damage control mode after revelations from ousted board member Sunny Piers about corruption involving unpaid invoices, mismanagement, and threats against board members. GNOME's response involves widespread censorship on their forums, particularly targeting posts from peers whose removal was only revealed through Lunjuk's reporting. Multiple posts have been flagged as temporarily hidden or deleted entirely, with some censored so quickly that Lunjuk couldn't archive them. GNOME moderator Emmanuel Bassi stated that moderators are cleaning up discussions because the topic has been linked by well-known bad actors and grifters, which Lunjuk interpreted as aimed at him specifically since he appears to be the only journalist covering GNOME controversies. The timing coincides with GNOME Foundation Board of Directors elections, where long-serving board members involved in previous controversies are running for re-election. Lunjuk expressed doubt that GNOME will face real accountability, predicting they'll continue this behavior until facing legal action. Moving to infrastructure innovation, Skydio CEO Adam Bry demonstrated live drone operation from Vancouver to Tokyo, arguing that autonomous drones are becoming critical, invisible infrastructure. Despite acknowledging scary military associations, citing Ukraine, where 96% of casualties inflicted on Russian forces last month came from drone strikes, he showcased civilian applications. Oklahoma City Police uses dock drones citywide, where a train operator called 911 panicking about possibly hitting someone on tracks. While ground search would take an hour, the drone arrived in seconds, located an injured person, and guided first responders to save the victim's life. San Francisco saw a 30% drop in overall crime and 40% drop in auto theft since implementing drone as first responder technology. Currently, 5% of the U.S. population lives within 2 minutes of a Skydio drone emergency response, expanding to thousands of agencies by year's end. American Electric Power uses docks in electrical substations for proactive inspections, catching potential failures before they cause devastating fires like those that have originated from utility faults. Zen Van Riel explained why AI agents often fail because automation browsers get instantly flagged as bots, diving deep into the 8-layer detection system. Bot detection operates on a worst-off principle where any single check indicating automation flags the entire visit, regardless of how human everything else appears. The server layer examines HTTP headers like user agents that might show headless Chrome or Python requests, while the client layer runs JavaScript to measure what the machine actually is versus what it claims. Real browsers generate thousands of consistent signals naturally, while bots must fake every single one perfectly. He demonstrated using Camoufox, a stealth browser that patches all 8 detection methods directly in the browser engine using C++. When he loaded a test page using Vanilla Playwright with standard Firefox, it showed bot detected with Navigator. WebDriver flagged as true. After switching to Camoufox, the same page showed looks like a human because the Firefox engine patches eliminated the contradictions. However, he acknowledged that production anti-bot systems like Cloudflare and Akamai add additional layers beyond browser fingerprinting, noting that sometimes you simply shouldn't attempt to bot certain sites. A Y Combinator meetup showcased 5 papers showing current AI research directions. Yasa Beg presented on protein language models, explaining how ESMC was trained on hundreds of millions of evolved protein sequences using masked language modeling. The key findings: scaling laws hold for protein biology with clean log-linear improvement in predicting protein contacts as compute increased. Their single-sequence approach achieved near parity with AlphaFold 3's hand-engineered multiple-sequence alignment. And sparse autoencoders revealed the model learned interpretable biological features from amino acids to whole protein functions through unsupervised learning. Luke presented self-play for LLMs, where their self-guided self-play approach grounded synthetic problems in real unsolved problems, achieving 670B model performance with a 7B model using 8x compute. Robert George enthusiastically discussed formal verification, with Lean highlighting recent AI successes, solving 80-year-old Erdos problems, and his Torchlean framework enabling neural networks with formal verification. Luke Orthwein concluded with tokenmaxxing philosophy for AI development, treating programming like real-time strategy games requiring constant parallel task management, achieving 3.5x PR output per engineer monthly with recent 60% improvements. In a more personal story, Betty from Switch and Click went down a headphone rabbit hole trying to upgrade from her HD6XXs, testing multiple expensive options only to discover her original setup was perfect. She started with Hi-Fi Man Edition XSs at $189, but they had zero clamp force and looked like an umbrella for my head. THIAUDIO headphones were even larger and extremely heavy at 411 grams, giving her pressure headaches after 10 minutes. The FIO FT1 Pro finally fit properly, but had thin, twangy guitar tones that weren't appealing. This led her to question whether she needed better source equipment, so she upgraded from a $15 Hi-Bi Digital D1 dongle to the $80 FIO Ka13. When testing the new Ka13, she found it sounded exactly the same as her original $15 dongle, leading to the realization that her original setup was already optimal. Her conclusion: appreciate what you already have rather than chasing upgrades, and expensive DACs may not provide noticeable improvements for many users. Shifting to business news, Bellular News revealed that Xbox CEO Ashish Sharma sent a brutal staff memo showing Xbox made only 3% profit margins despite $20 billion in 5-year investment. The memo announced another round of layoffs, potentially affecting up to 1,000 staff and studio closures, coming just 100 days after Sharma's charm offensive to rebuild fan goodwill. The financial picture is devastating. Annual revenue declined by nearly $500 million during the 5-year spending period, putting Xbox at roughly 3% margins, below what you could get from a savings account. Storage components doubled from autumn to February, with prices expected to be 5 times higher by holiday 2027 than in 2025. Xbox signed smaller supplier contracts than Sony or Nintendo to improve profitability, but now can't manufacture enough consoles to meet demand. The ironic context: while Xbox can't afford memory components, Microsoft plans to spend 10 times Xbox's 5-year budget, $200 billion, on AI in 2026 alone, with Microsoft's AI data centers buying up the same components Xbox needs. The Electric Viking covered BYD's revelation of 2 new Formula S models from their Fang Chengbao brand, a liftback sedan and station wagon, both offering up to 657 horsepower and launching in Q3 2026. This brings BYD's total model count to a staggering 76 different vehicles, with plans suggesting they could reach 100 models by year-end. The presenter was clearly overwhelmed by BYD's strategy, calling their 76 model lineup insane and questioning whether having potentially 600 different variants is really the solution to beating Toyota. He calculated that with an average of 4-5 variants per model, customers could face 600 different options, which he found overwhelming even as someone who considers himself decisive. The vehicles feature substantial dimensions with a 29/16 wheelbase, BYD's new Pilot 5 system, and Blade battery version 2 supporting 1000 kW flash charging. 3 powertrain variants range from 329 horsepower rear-wheel drive to 657 horsepower all-wheel drive, with the Wagon variant weighing about 170 kilos more than the Liftback, but using the same motor configurations. Speaking of automotive trends, the Electric Viking reported that solar power generation exceeded coal in the U.S. during May 2026 for the first time ever, with 74% of new solar capacity installed in Republican states that Trump won. Solar generated 45.5 TWh, representing a 17% increase from May 2025, while coal hit an all-time monthly low of 39 TWh, down 11% from 2025 levels. This makes solar the third largest electricity source behind natural gas and nuclear power. Solar and energy storage represented 91% of all new capacity installed in Q1 2026, despite changing tax policy and regulatory actions targeting clean energy. The presenter emphasized that 99% of people choose solar and batteries simply because they're cheaper, faster to deploy, and create no toxic fumes, expressing bewilderment that Trump hasn't figured this out despite his administration's efforts to prop up coal with billions in subsidies. Solar and wind are booming across red states including Texas, Florida, Ohio, Indiana, Michigan, Arizona, and Mississippi, showing that market forces are overcoming political resistance. At Computex 2026, Wendell from Level 1 Techs found the show floor dominated by AI infrastructure and vibe-coded AI startups with no real products, displacing traditional hardware companies. While genuinely impressed by technical innovations like 3D printed copper cooling from Fabricate Labs and ultra-high-density servers with 40 Intel Core Ultra nodes per rack unit, he was frustrated by AI startups taking expensive booth space without actual products. Gigabyte showed data centers in shipping containers with direct water cooling, while NVIDIA's rapid advancement is displacing Open Compute's traditional role in enterprise infrastructure standards. Notable innovations included G-Skill testing, JEDEC standard memory exceeding 10,000 megatransfers, Silverstone's Alta T2 workstation case with 11 expansion slots supporting realistic 8 GPU configurations, and Supermicro's GB300 Super AI station shipping with Ubuntu pre-installed. However, established companies like Silverstone were forced to meet in nearby cafes due to AI startups occupying their traditional booth spaces. Wendell described the show as bittersweet, excited about underlying technology, but concerned about Edison electrocuting elephants types in the AI space. Mike from Game From Scratch rounded up current game development deals in a new format video, highlighting Unity's Asset Store Summer Sale with 50% off over 400 assets plus 90% flash deals, and introducing Bundle Foundry as a newer competitor to Humble Bundle. Bundle Foundry impressed him by offering free assets with no requirements on every bundle, encouraging hoarders to grab quality content for assessment. Humble Bundle was running their 15th anniversary sale with numerous bundles including Nature Manufacture's Unreal Environment Bundle with 12 high-quality assets, and Kit Bash 3D's evolution from single $40 kits to 4 kits plus material packs for around $30. Mike noted Bundle Foundry's approach of consistently providing free tiers while established platforms create FOMO pressure with rotating doorbusters. He was particularly excited about Ovani Sounds bundles since he's been a longtime fan, and praised courses from GameDev TV for consistently high quality. The video represents Mike's experimental approach to consolidating deal coverage rather than individual bundle videos that would dominate his channel content. OpenAI showcased their public equity investing plugin powered by Codex, transforming scattered earnings and market data into structured, actionable investment analysis. The tool integrates multiple trusted third-party data sources, including Quarter for earnings call transcripts, Dalupa for financial metrics, and S&P for analyst estimates, plus general web search for market reactions. The core value proposition transforms scattered inputs into structured output through automated post-earnings analysis covering what fundamentally changed in the quarter, what aspects of investment theses need additional proof, what expectations are reflected in current stock prices, and specific recommended action steps. The system provides 4 key analytical pillars: quality of earnings analysis, recurring revenue evidence, operating trajectory assessment, and source link transparency. Rather than the traditional, slow, manual research process, the platform consolidates everything into interactive dashboards with bull case, base case, and bear case scenarios, helping investment teams move efficiently from scattered information to decisions they can review and implement. LSEG, London Stock Exchange Group, partnered with OpenAI to transform financial market data access, emphasizing trust in data as the foundation for AI adoption. The key revelation: when AI systems have access to appropriate data, they spend more time on reasoning and produce both correct and higher quality outcomes. LSEG has dramatically accelerated development cycles from historical 3-6 months to bi-weekly releases, driven by faster-moving information and decision processes. The partnership operates through their Model Context Protocol, MCP, providing trusted data directly to ChatGPT users, while internally transforming analyst roles to expand into new research areas with deeper insights they previously lacked time to pursue. LSEG assesses multiple quality dimensions beyond data accuracy: groundedness of AI responses, reasoning through financial information, data surplus evaluation, and fidelity measurement. Their goal is ensuring data and analytics are equally consumable by both humans and AI systems, reducing the heavy lifting that customers historically did around data model functionality. Proply, the world's largest language learning marketplace with 100,000 tutors teaching over 90 languages, uses OpenAI's AI to augment human tutors through lesson insights, personalized recaps delivered after each lesson. The system provides 3 key components: lesson summaries, feedback on performance and improvement areas, and specific progress suggestions shown to both learners and tutors. This shifts learning from general practice to highly targeted improvement while cutting tutor preparation time by more than half. Over 70% of tutors opted into using lesson insights, with 75% of learners also choosing the feature, achieving 70% retention for lesson insights engagement after a full year. Proply chose OpenAI specifically for accuracy since they provide feedback on language usage, grammar mistakes, and speaking patterns where precision becomes critical. The division of labor preserves human strengths in motivation and engagement, getting students to attend classes and maintaining classroom energy, while AI handles repetitive administrative tasks like writing personalized lesson plans and creating post-lesson notes. Microsoft Azure Storage presented comprehensive solutions for AI inference workloads, focusing on prompt caching, fast model loading, and enterprise data integration. Their 3-tier prompt caching evolution includes implicit caching in GPU memory with 5-10-minute TTLs, extended caching on local SSDs with 24-hour retention, generally available in Foundry starting May 2026, and Azure Context Cache as a first-class resource built on blob storage, removing size constraints with days to months TTL. Technical demonstrations showed dramatic improvements. 100,000 token context improved from 52 seconds to 8 seconds, 6x faster, by streaming KV chunks from blob storage, while model loading achieved 86 gigabits per second network saturation, loading 60 GB across 8 H100s. For distributed environments, their AKS cache delivers 2.5x faster model loading, with each GPU node functioning as both cache and client. Enterprise data integration includes native support across AI ecosystem tools, with their Langchain loader providing 5.9x faster lazy load and 7.10x faster eager load compared to community alternatives. Azure Context Cache enters gated preview at Microsoft Build 2026. Microsoft Developer addressed a common mistake developers make when building cost-efficient AI apps, optimizing models and prompts instead of focusing on system optimization. The presenter argued that getting caught up in questioning whether you have the right prompt or model misses the more important consideration of ensuring AI has access to the right data. They referenced evidence from their Budget Bites series showing that when AI systems have appropriate data access, AI spends more time on reasoning and produces both correct and higher quality outcomes overall. Rather than tweaking prompts or switching between models, developers should prioritize optimizing the end-to-end system and data accessibility, which yields better cost efficiency and quality results than model-level adjustments. That wraps up your 25-hour catch-up. The big themes were AI capability leaps with tools like Fable 5, ongoing debates about whether coding is actually /solved, and fascinating innovations in everything from enterprise AI infrastructure to consumer hardware. Lots to explore in the links if any of these caught your interest.